Next speaker is Ms. Vinalakshmi Nepram, the founder of Manipur Women Gun Survivors Network.
First of all, I would like to pay my respects to each one of you present in this room with a typical indigenous greeting from my state, Manipur. It's called Kurumjari Mayambu. Our deepest respect to all of you. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and I would like to really thank the DPI, Jeff, and also the Indian Treaty Council for suggesting my name to be here this morning. And it's an honor to be here. And it's a matter of immense privilege also to be here because I recognize many in this room and I recognize billions others who cannot be in this room, whose voices each one of us are carrying within as we are seated here today. Coming to the United Nations for me is like coming to a spiritual space. There is nothing in the world like this, however challenges the United Nations may pose to be. United Nations still is one of the most beautiful institutions. It has challenges, but then there is nothing like the United Nations. In fact, when I explain to people back home in Manipur and Northeast India, I used to say, while government should be like the second set of parents, the United Nations is like your grandparents. That's how you connect. We are all living in an interconnected world. My name is Vinalakshmi Nepram. I'm an indigenous woman, poet, writer, activist from the state of Manipur in northeast of India, a tiny state, but it was an Asiatic kingdom with a 2,000-year-old recorded history, which is located at the border of India and Burma. It was in 1949 that we were taken by the government of India, and right now we live under the Union of India. And since then, we have received, like at this moment, more than 20,000 people have been killed in my home state. I'm not bringing stories of sadness here, as many speakers said, but we are here in this hall as well as in many other platforms to seek solutions. Because we are tired of our wars, our conflicts, and our futures, which we cannot see. So for many of you who are here, the northeast of India is a land which belongs to about 45 million people, out of which 90% are indigenous. We have 272 ethnic groups, beautiful ethnic groups, speaking 400 languages. But yet our history is not in the history of India. Even after 60 years of independent India, we are struggling to work with our government to ensure that our histories, our cultures are written. Because of the conflict in the home state, we now have a region where 50,000 have died. And there are many young people with no jobs. In my home state, Manipur alone, there are 700,000 youth who are educated, unemployed, and they are the power keg for violence. And we haven't done enough to make that happen. At this stage, usually you know India. India is a beautiful country, as a land which gave you yoga. It's a land which is also a land of immense spiritualism. But in my home state of Manipur, we have the martial law called the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, where anybody can be shot, killed, murdered, or raped at the mere charge of suspicion. My own niece died in a bomb blast, and my parents were nearly shot. And I myself have been threatened multiple times. I'm proud to say I'm a human rights defender, an indigenous women rights defender. We have survived multiple threats in my life. But we do this work as a young woman because we truly believe in the system of a world which says we can have a better world, as enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, as enshrined in our own constitutions of our country. So at this stage, as we speak, we have got, as I said, so many young people have died in this conflict. There's not a single day in my home state, Manipur, where a young person is not killed. There are 3 to 5 slow killings every day as we speak. For me, freedom was when I was able to take a subway in New York at 10:30 in the night. Even in India's capital, New Delhi, if you're a woman walking at 8 o'clock in the night, you're asking for rape. And in my home state, Manipur, by 4:30, no one does any meetings. We do not know what is nightlife because there is an unwritten curfew in our home states. And what are we doing about it? And why are we here speaking about it? It's not that we wanted to embarrass our governments. We love our governments because they are our second set of parents. They should be doing what is for every downtrodden poor in our country. We are a country with 500 million poor. And we got, as a good nation, to make that work, is our belief, and hence this speech. So right now what we are seeing is, as I said, when we discovered that more than 20,000 women have become widowed in my home state, Manipur, because of a rampant gun violence. Because, you know, conflict exists in our minds. You must be thinking, what should I wear today? It's a conflict. There are conflicts in our lives, in our minds, in our families, in our communities. Conflict is a part of life. But what happens when there's a heavy influx of weapons in our home state? And this is what I have discovered, that in my home state, Manipur, weapons from 11 countries have flooded. United States may have never heard of Manipur, but their weapons, M16, have reached. We discovered that heavy weaponization of our lives. So one of the things that I want to bring to this, and which is extremely important component of how to achieve sustainable development goal, how to involve women human rights defenders, how to ensure conflict reduction policies towards achieving the sustainable development goals by 2030. It's extremely important that we are able to work with our governments to make that happen, to reduce conflict at all. So at this stage, what we are seeing is we set up what is known as a Manipur Women Gun Survivors Network in the year 2007. And what do? Sustainable Development Goals may have been adopted by our nations and the United Nations in 2015, but we started the process way back in 2007. And let me explain to you, ladies and gentlemen. When we discovered that a lot of women who survive violence in Manipur have no widow pensions, they're living hand to mouth. What happens if their husbands are killed, who are the only bread earners? So what do? They actually come about. We set up bank accounts for them. We provided the thing that I'm wearing today is not made in China. It's hand-woven by our women of Manipur. They have magic in their hands. We are encouraging women survivors of violence in many of our areas that they must use their skills, their local indigenous skills, to be able to achieve their goals as we live in an interconnected world. We also have looked at various UN policies, like we were thrilled when we discovered the United Nations Program of Action on looking at women, peace and security. We have taken that to ensure women in decision-making processes. We are looking at UNDRIP, the United Nations Indigenous Peoples' Rights Declaration. And now we are so thrilled. The Sustainable Development Goals are there, where our nations, India, China, the whole world wants to make it happen. So all we are saying is include the indigenous people, include women human rights defenders, include those who work on disarmament, because you know what? $1 trillion is spent every year on armaments industry. Okay? And if you take 10% of that military spending, you can achieve Sustainable Development Goal by 2030. This is extremely important that we make it happen. Okay. So, all right. In my final achievement words, I'm a product. As I said, our history is not in the national textbooks. But it was my grandfather who taught me the history of Manipur and northeast of India. It was my mother who taught me seeds can blossom in our Mother Earth. And it is up to our generation. Sustainable Development Goal requires intergeneration experiences. I have been a survivor of intergenerational conflicts. I don't want Manipur, entire Northeast, and the world to live in conflict and in bomb blast. And we want to know that working on Sustainable Development Goal cannot be a 9-to-5 job. It has to be a movement where we feel in our hearts. And with this words, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nepram.